Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. TJ is here, and tonight's topic is isolation. Now, when I say isolation, I need to make it clear first off, that does not mean necessarily that your new potential psychopathic, sociopathic, narcissistic cluster B monster is going to do like tie you up, throw you in the trunk of a car, take you to a remote cabin, and torture you in private. That probably won't happen in this day and age. Isolation is a little bit different from that, and I'm here to describe it to you and how it can happen. So to illustrate this point, let's just start with, if your narcissist or otherwise cluster B monster has acted completely normal when you first met him or her, that's first step. Maybe even more normal than anyone else you've ever known your entire life, that's another common one. And if he or she has done his or her job properly, we'll say they have successfully mirrored a lot of your viewpoints to be their own. So that rushes things along because you think, wow, what are the chances of me finding someone that's beautiful, number one, and agrees with me on this, and C, likes me for this, and all those things. You think, oh, I better hold on to this. Well, this isolation occurs slowly, usually. So, for example, if you have a series of friends or a group of friends you hang out with regularly, well, this person is going to be like all for it and hopefully get involved in some of the things you do with this group. Now, they will, of course, utilize these people as flying monkeys. That's one of the things they do, because they will see who's closest to you, and they'll see who they can manipulate, who they probably can't manipulate, and also judge which ones are more important or less important to you. But they'll be silent, and they'll be quiet, they'll act normal, and they'll be flattering to everyone and anyone around them, because they are using these people at this point to their advantage. So, what will often happen is these people will do things over the top for you, like you just met last week and a bouquet of roses comes for you tomorrow, and you think, oh, how wonderful, oh, and your, of course, peers may see this or come over like, oh, where'd you get the roses? And they'll think, oh, well, he is nice or she is nice, yeah, I think he likes you. And these flying monkeys basically are being used to further this monster's agenda. But what will happen eventually is you'll start spending like most of your time, if not every night of your week, with this person, and it could vary. Like you could still incorporate your other friends' activities with it, probably will happen, but also what may happen eventually is you may end up spending a majority of your time with this monster. So that's their ultimate goal, is to get you isolated, not physically like in a box somewhere, but physically or emotionally with them only. So your other friends you may talk to or communicate with, but they're not like someone that influences everything in in your life. So eventually, when dealing so closely with such a person, they're bound to slip up, which they always do. So you may slowly start to notice that certain things just are a little contradictory. Certain things just don't match up. Like a phony example would be when you first met, you made it clear how you thought littering was just horrible. And this person said, oh, I'm the same way. I have never littered. I have never thrown trash out. And then one day you come across a stack of tickets or a legal record stating this person's been arrested 10 times and fined for littering. Well, that doesn't fit together. Well, these little things start to happen. That's kind of an extreme example, but you'll pick up on little tiny things that may indicate something's wrong. Well, once you start expressing this to this person, because keep in mind, you're isolated already because you're spending day and night with this person. Nobody else outside is there. Nobody else outside hears and experiences what you do, which brings you to your natural gut feeling conclusions that something's a little fishy here. So when you go to them, oh, I think something's wrong with the person I'm seeing, la la la, well, chances are he's already gone to those people when he starts to figure out, or she starts to figure out, that you're onto him, and will tell them that you're kind of unstable, or you're kind of paranoid, or there's something wrong with you, and probably included something like, I think that he's really getting paranoid. I'd appreciate if you wouldn't tell him, though, please. Oh, I love your outfit. Well, of course, they'll be like, I won't tell him. So by the point you start to see these things, and you go outwards to your friends, even if you're not seeing them as much, and say, I think there's something wrong. You know what? He had done this and said that. And they'll be already programmed with the seed that he dropped in them, which is, he's losing his mind. Maybe he is. And then they hear you saying this stuff, which sounds like you've lost your mind, and they might just be like, oh, give him a break, he really likes you, or because he's brainwashed them with his constant love bombing, but it's from a little distance. So that will happen, and when you attempt to resolve an inner conflict you have, let's say, with something this monster has done, we've talked about in other videos the confrontation styles they all seem to use, which basically discuss everything else but what you're asking. Well, they've got you. You're like trapped because you try to reach outside, and the people out there are saying, oh, give it a break, oh, you're too sensitive, and he will tell you, or she, you're too sensitive. Give me a break. Remember all those things I did for you? All your friends love me, and stuff like that. So you have to be aware of that. But the point is, the whole thing is an illusion that you've been sucked into, and part of your brain may start to think that maybe that is the case, but you don't really want to believe that. So a lot of times you'll try to talk yourself out of it using the flying monkeys lines and the monsters lines to say, you know what, maybe I am being too sensitive, and that's the gaslighting aspect, which ties in. But keep in mind, just look out. If you're being isolated, I, again, wouldn't say anything about it. I would just observe and make your next plans in secret, because clearly the Cluster B has made plenty of plans in secret that you weren't part of.